in the house. Good morning. It's 8:19. The Link on the Breeze 93.9, proudly brought to you by Dal Rentone. Cabo Select Care, where federal employees and annuitants, it's the 2020 federal benefits open season. Enroll now until December 14th, 2020. Call 477-9808 for more info. Also brought to you by IT&E, the Thrive Coalition, Burger King, Carrier at 647-COOL, and Calvo Enterprises. 8:20 now. Let's jump right into the KUAM News Zoom room on this historic runoff election for Washington Delegate Day. I never thought I would say those words out loud, Lieutenant Governor, but here we are on a Tuesday. Let's welcome to the show Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. Good morning, LT.
Good morning, Chris, and good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
I guess we'll just start there. You have a message to the people of Guam on this runoff election Tuesday.
Yes, please vote. This probably it's a historic runoff election, but it's likely also to be the lowest turnout ever expected given the pandemic and given that this is a single race election. But it is very important, and I'm hopeful that the people of Guam will come out. The Election Commission, I have to say, does a very good job keeping everybody safe. I voted on Saturday and still very impressed with all of that they're doing. But it's in critical time. There's a new administration coming into the White House, hopefully. We'll have a member of Congress that will be joining the Democratic majority. And I'm just hopeful that whoever is elected will be able to work closely with them.
So your message to the people, LT, go out and vote Democrat.
That's right. And I ask all my Republican friends, this is the one time you can vote Democrat without feeling guilty.
Right. Come on. Yeah.
When you voted on Saturday, were there a lot of people?
There were, the line was filled outside. I went upstairs and went straight up to the desk. Well, it took me all about, I would say, 10 minutes. It was real efficient. But, I just have to commend all of the staff that are up there doing this for us in this pandemic. They've been doing a good job.
Right. Yeah.
Please vote. You have until 8 p.m. tonight to vote. And just as a reminder, you have to have been registered in the general election in order to vote. If you didn't vote in the general election and you want to vote, you can. You just have to be registered, a registered voter. So please go out there and do it.
LT, what'd you make of...
when did you guys vote? Did you guys already vote?
I voted. Yeah. Did you vote?
I haven't voted yet.
I voted early.
All right.
Yeah. I'm liking this.
Where do you vote, Sabrina?
Jigo.
Okay.
I used to vote in Agate, and then I switched over to Jigo.
I like 2020. I mean, the only thing that I can think of, well, there's been a few good things, but I got to vote 3 times this year.
Yeah.
LT, what did you make of the voter turnout? We had Sean Gumatata on earlier talking about this low voter turnout. What do you think the reasons were for that?
I've been thinking about it a lot because we saw that throughout the country there was record turnout, and here, so it might be people are not necessarily outraged. People are scared. I think people have different reasons, or people are apathetic. The apathy could be that they're disappointed with the leadership, maybe some of them, including with us. But there might be others that are satisfied with what's happening and don't see a need to come out. It really is something I've been thinking about because we are the only jurisdiction. I haven't checked the turnout for the other territories, but in the States, we always surpass the turnout in the States.
Yeah.
And this time we didn't.
For it to flop like that, it's really interesting.
Really have to analyze that in different ways. But I really do think that a lot of people are fearful and, maybe not as energized or mobilized to go out there. I thought that some of even the villages that had 6 candidates running for mayor, I thought would turn out more voters, and even they didn't. So I'll have to continue to analyze it and have my informal discussions with people, asking them what they think. What do you guys think?
I think it's just a combination of the apathy and the COVID. And also the quality of the candidates. It seemed like we had some good ones, and then there was just like really sharp drop off, way down. But LT, what'd you make though? I mean, we had the low voter turnout, but to me, it seems like in the period for the in-office voting and at the GEC, I mean, they had like 5,000 people come through there in 1 week. I mean, that to me, that says something.
Yeah, no, I think that the people that love to vote and love to participate are usually the ones that go out there, and then it's really about getting out the vote and mobilizing your networks to come out. And I think that this election, a lot of people, you usually are able to socialize, right? They always think that the October surprise is going to be on Halloween weekend, and everybody's going to gossip and chatter when they see each other. But there wasn't anything like that.
Right.
You're not able to do that, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be able to socialize much, given all of the cases with our COVID numbers. I mean, we're really trying to delve into the data, Chris and Sabrina, trying to, take out and screen out all of the clusters coming in from construction and from corrections to see where our community spread is. But, we have, I think the next couple of weeks, they're still going to be critical. I know every week seems to be critical, but given the outbreak and the increase in cases worldwide, and we continue to have inbound travelers, and just, we've been since mid-August, right? Having record number of cases ourselves. I mean, I'm hopeful that we could start leading and bringing the numbers down, but it's going to require people to kind of fight this COVID fatigue that they have, and really challenge themselves about their comfort zone. So, my best guess, for example, at the situation in the construction and Department of Corrections, the spread is occurring when coworkers are gathering together, probably, eating together. I had a complaint in my office last week from an anonymous one from employees saying, "Oh, my supervisor's mean. She's not allowing us to eat together." And my staff was like, "You shouldn't be eating together." It's just one of those things. And
Right.
now and the painful thing is next Thursday is Thanksgiving,
Oh, God.
right? And I would just say, if you're not planned for Thanksgiving in your own household, I mean, if I wouldn't be, our family were talking about are we gonna exchange dishes, right? We're looking at having a Zoom Thanksgiving. First time our relatives from the States can participate. So,
Wow.
it's but really trying to figure that out, because I don't think that, some of the guidance, and I know we're looking at guidance and talking to the professionals here too, but I've seen some guidance in the states. Some governors in some states are suggesting that you should not be having Thanksgiving outside your household. Some are saying you shouldn't have it more than 2 households at the limit. There's a big risk, and with the community spread that we've seen, I just tell people you have to really reconsider what you do, because the spread is happening out there. When you get home from work, you may have caught it somewhere, and then you're bringing it home, and then sometimes you're bringing it into the workplace. So
Right.
in construction, it came in from the outside, likely from local employees, and it spread into the barracks. Same thing at corrections, coming in from the employees and into the inmate and detainee population.
Uh,
And
LT, so what are you anticipating though? Because we're trying to get this car score down, right? And a lot of people are saying that we can't really do that unless there's some type of tightening of restrictions that are in place. Are we tracking anything, any type of announcement, any discussion with the administration? Because we just keep hearing about a lockdown, or 2 weeks, whatever the case may be.
I have to say that people are calling and advocating for that. There are other people that don't want to see that. So you're right. There is a buzz out there about an action. we're still analyzing it. We haven't made any decisions. We're really looking at the cases very, very carefully, and trying to look for progress. Prior to the construction outbreak, we started seeing some incremental progress going down, and then we had those two, plus really monitoring the situation with the archdiocese. I haven't heard of any additional cases yet coming from any events where the priest was. That is a very scary one that we're looking at. And if we can get through that and get our numbers down, and I still would say that I'm optimistic because we've been able to identify these clusters. And one of the actions that we took with the governor and public health is to slow things down at construction while we get the construction companies to clear the public health process and then be able to get back to work. But with the amount of construction workers, I think we're over 500, including the Black and Cortec cases. Yeah. And still with, I think, about 1,000 more tested from yesterday through the next couple of days of all the subcontractors, any possibilities from exposure. If we can get through these clusters and then make more progress, then hopefully we've gone through the thick of these things right now. But I'd tell you, it's day by day, hour by hour, just taking a look at the test results and making sure that we're able to identify these cases and really identify these clusters.
Right. Do you have any update on the implementation and the review of the fines and fees?
I understand that public health has already sent those, or has already done their review process, and I believe that they are looking at the traffic court to handle the citations, and to make sure that people would have due process, that if and when they get cited, that they're given a fair shot at explaining themselves if they did not violate. But we'll get an update in the next day or so on where that is. But that's kind of like the idea. Idea is to try and get public health to have that authority, especially prior to all of these holiday events. Last night I was, every now and then I get complaints, people call about gatherings, and you almost feel helpless when you send the police or public health over and they break them up, and then guess what? They're back at it again in about 30 minutes. And so there needs to be some sort of fair enforcement system in order for us to try and get through this. I think we're the only jurisdiction that doesn't have that. And I might be wrong. There might be others in the States, but if you take a look at our nearest neighbors in, so to speak, Hawaii and California, where there are established citations and penalties, I think we're just looking for somehow to discourage and, dissuade people from endangering themselves and others.
Now that I think of it, did the draft rules and regs indicate where the money that's collected from these fines and fees, or where it would go?
You know what? I'm not sure, and I'll clarify that.
Yeah,
I'll clarify that.
Yeah, I don't remember reading that part.
Is it frustrating? Is it frustrating at all, LT, that we continue? I mean, we've got just a constant parade of people that come on the link, and over the past 8 months, hey, what do you want to say to the people? Oh, just keep doing what you're doing. Mind your distance, wash your hands, yada yada. But I mean, if you look at these numbers that we're seeing and this crazy surge, it's been how many weeks, Jay? We've been in this peak war.
This is 15.
15 weeks.
15 out of the
I mean,
30
can we
weeks of the
really
pandemic.
say people are doing what they need to do and to keep on doing it? Because obviously somebody's not doing something, and a lot of people are not doing whatever they need to do. So is it frustrating on your part?
I think people are underestimating how contagious and infectious the virus is, because these people, say that they're complying, but then they let their comfort down when sometimes in their own sanctuary, right? That's where some of the spread happens. They unknowingly bring it home after maybe casually uh, sharing a smoke break with somebody, perhaps, or speaking to people and underestimating the amount of time that they put themselves in danger, and then unfortunately coming home and infecting the family. I think that's the big leap that people are having a problem with. They really truly believe that they're doing everything they can to keep themselves protected, but the disease or this virus is very, very highly infectious, and sometimes you just have no idea. Even look at me and the governor, right? I mean, even though that I can say probably we're the ones that exposed. I couldn't tell you that. Yes, I got it from her. I just couldn't. Although, and in my situation, only my in my house, and then my sister got it. Nobody else, my security, my staff, nobody did. It's just one of those bizarre things that I think people underestimate how infectious it is, and sometimes it can creep up into you. So it really is a warning that when we're dealing with the family events and Thanksgiving is coming up, you know, let's say you're with your 6 people in your house, and they're all adults and they all work. You have to really think those are a lot of periods of exposure that they have for each other. So you really need to try and alter how you are in your own sanctuary. I think that's the biggest challenge. Is it's your house is supposed to, you're supposed to walk around with your underwear, or
Hey, how'd you know?
said that, but I mean,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where
we
we're.
know.
Yeah, we know.
but it just, I think that tying it to the CAR score, which integrates, the situation with the testing and the situation going on at the hospital, and making sure that, we are aware of our surroundings and how things are unraveling, including in the States. And, one of the things is we have additional help here, right? For now, with all of the states unraveling, I imagine that the challenge we will have challenge trying to maintain people that are here, right? And so it really is urgent that we try and keep the numbers down, bring them down in the next few weeks. Since if you're watching, I'm sure you guys watch it all the time, the situation going on in the States, and how the number of cases and hospitalizations is already heading into a crescendo. We're going to be in a competition for resources.
Right.
Good so
point.
I mean, right now, plan alternatives. It hurts, but if you love your nana, don't endanger her on Thanksgiving. Figure out ways to try and do what we can, so that maybe we can be a bit more open when we come into Christmas time. I mean, but that even that's a steep hill to climb ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can do it. If we can survive enemy occupation for 2.5 years, right?
But the problem, LT, is we didn't survive that enemy occupation, right? Our mononco did, right? Yeah.
Right. But guess what? Their genes are all in us, right?
He a day.
We're part of it.
Right.
We're part of it.
Can we switch gears a little bit here, LT, and maybe to get your comment on the nomination of Superior Court Judge Maria Senzon, right?
Well, you know that she is one of my dearest, closest friends.
Right.
And the friendship I have with her really was started as with camaraderie, professional relationship at the judiciary when I was over there as the administrator of the court. In fact, I'll just tell you a quick story. I would never have gone to the court had it not been for, this is interesting, for Governor Calvo to be elected. Because when Governor Calvo got elected, he appointed Judge Jamie Canto to the bench. He was the legal counsel to the governor's office. Judge Senzan was at the court as director of policy and got taken to be legal counsel, and then I came in to replace her. So it's kind of interesting, but I would just say this, that she is an excellent jurist. She is very well qualified. She has all of the characteristics of judicial excellence. And she's going to be an excellent jurist if she gets through a very, very political and divisive situation, right? This is obviously not the best, perfect time for you to get a nomination from a president who just got defeated. But guess what? She did. She cleared, extensive vetting by federal law enforcement. She's been vetted by many people that were interviewed as part of that process. And if she gets it, it's going to be good for Guam. So, I'd say that. Now, whether or not, I'm surprised that the president would be able to make nominations after he, was after he lost the election. He has not admitted that. But you know what? You just expect the unexpected from the president. And sometimes the way I see it, it takes years to get down to district court judges in the territories, since there's circuit court judges, justices, all sorts of things. But I think that, she's an excellent candidate, and very proud of her. I also am very proud of the service of Judge Frances Tidinko Gatewood, who served the court for 14 years. She also is very honorable and worthy of appointment. But unfortunately, based on the political process, the nomination's been made. But I'm very excited for her.
LT, there's a little bit of, I don't want to say like a big difference in what you're saying and the announcement that, the release that came out of Adelup, which seemed to focus more on the
didn't have input.
no input, out of the loop, the type of thing.
Well, and you would normally, get the input. And first of all, we're not of the same party as the president. Right. So if, for example, vacancies happen during a Biden administration, then for sure I would say that, we would be involved in trying to identify talent for the president to look at. There's other factors out there. And it normally is par for the course that there should be consultation. But like I said, we're living in the world of Trump. You just never know what's going to happen. So of course the governor, I think was surprised because she wasn't even notified, that there was an appointment that would be made. And I think that she was responding in that way. Right. But there's no question that the governor knows that Judge Senzan is very qualified, is a very good person. I mean, we've had meals together in the past, so she's a good person. Setting aside, there's two issues. There's the politics process, and then there's the individual. And the individual I know very well and is an excellent person, and I'm very proud of her. Process, obviously not handled perfectly, but
it's 2020.
A Supreme Court justice was nominated and confirmed in 30 days.
Crazy.
So,
it is what it is. It is what it is. Just go with that. Bree?
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the election and just find out from you whether or not you had any opportunities to talk to Congressman San Nicolas or Congressman Underwood at all.
I've not talked to Congressman San Nicolas in quite a long time. In the past, we have been very, very close personal friends. I'm always concerned for him. But I have talked to Congressman Underwood numerous times in the last few weeks. I mean, he's been very active out there. And of course, you might know I spent 5 years of my life working for him as a legislative assistant. I was his treasurer, actually. I saw him briefly on election day outside, and we had some nice words. But one thing I would say about Congressman Underwood, when I worked for him, he created this Team Guam approach when Joe Ada and then Carl Gutierrez were the governors, and Joe T. San Augustine was the speaker. And I would like, no matter who wins, to take that up again. Each time that there was significant movement in federal policy, there was always a Team Guam effort. So, for example, when Congressman Underwood passed the Excess Lands Act, which fast-tracked the return of federal lands, which I think another one should be done this year or in the next Congress because of the other lands involved, everything was integrated. We would send letters signed by the congressman, the governor, the speaker of the legislature would go in, and it was very, very powerful and strong, especially when there was one voice from Guam. And that's what I would like to see. And we've had some disagreements with Congressman San Nicolas. And if he does indeed prevail, let's refresh and let's adopt this Team Guam approach and let's work collaboratively together. And if Congressman Underwood gets elected, I'm pretty sure that we're going to do that, because that's been something that he had done for quite a long time. And so in the next, I think it's critical, of course, we have the pandemic disaster that we're dealing with. I'm very optimistic with the Biden administration that we'll get additional aid. I'm also looking forward to a transportation package. The Democrats and the Republicans have been talking about investments in infrastructure to create jobs. So I can see the pathway for additional road construction money coming in and additional infrastructure for water and wastewater. And then, of course, we still, even though there's a military expansion, so to speak, with its new basing, there's still thousands of acres in excess of federal lands that could benefit from a fast track release to the government of Guam, just like what happened back in, I think it was in 2004, when the Excess Lands Act was passed, and it fast tracked the return of a tremendous amount of property. So, the federal the federal agenda, I think, is very serious, and we have some opportunities coming in our way if we're able to align. And I'm real hopeful and that we can, no matter who wins. We need to, and I think it'll serve both everybody well if we do. Yeah. And we can disagree, but gosh, let's disagree. Call each other on the phone. That's what I would like to see. I mean, I rarely get into it, but if I need to get into it, I will. But people want to just try and figure out, and we don't agree on everything. There's things we can agree on, and then let's focus in on that.
Let's find those. Yeah.
Try it.
You totally agree. Yeah, I mean, LT, it just, you're right. No matter who wins, God, I just pray that we can put all this behind us for real, because I've seen these, with you guys and Congressman San Nicolas, there have been these instances where,
like the reparations, that would seem like such a needless fight.
Right.
We didn't have to fight about that. The whole point was we got the Republican administration to authorize a fast track process so people could get paid. And then, but we needed his legislation, no matter what, to pay everybody else. There just didn't seem to be
any real reason that And you're right. With this pandemic and everything that's going on, we do need that one Guam approach, and that doesn't mean that you got to kiss anyone's ass or anything. It just means let's just sit at the same table, and for this effort to get stuff from the feds, let's be united. But then if you want to disagree with whatever we're doing here, that's fine. But it's like my grandma used to say.
I tell you that all of us can and need to adjust ourselves. Right, all of us.
My grandma used
governor, me, the legislature, the congressman. Now's the time to kind of just calibrate ourselves. We are part of the Guam leadership. And even though we may be competing with each other from time to time and maybe opposing each other in elections, but we are part of the leadership. So we can. There's some people that I often look at. I'm thinking, gosh, I don't understand why they're like that, but I'll still, let's try again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, as we, in December, the federal assistance, it stops with the
Yeah.
PUA and the like, and we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months. Are you meeting or having any discussions with, I guess, our local leaders to stand up any sort of local programs or assistance to help, the 35,000 that are unemployed, or the people that are waiting in line and going to their mayor's offices to get food?
I think that's going to be that's the top concern for us. I mean, well, I should say top concern is keeping everybody healthy, but part of that health is their economic health too, right? And making sure that they have what they need. And there's a lot of people hurting out there. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say that that's kind of got to be our imperative, right? Planning and figuring out what we can do. And there have been some discussions here and there, but there needs to be a comprehensive discussion with all of us to kind of get us to what our reality is going to be in January.
Right.
And and it could go either way too, because the Republican U.S. Senate is not really, there have been there's a big disagreement about the level of unemployment assistance that they're willing to give. Right. I think they'll give something, but what that something is going to be is going to likely depend on an election on the other side of the world in Georgia, and also, the skills of President Biden negotiating with his former colleague Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Something will happen, but we have to plan for all the different ways. And so, I mean, if that's going to mean expanding, and stepping up the housing and rental and mortgage assistance, which some people, if they have too many assets, might not be eligible for, and trying to amend that. What we're also doing right now is I think we're on 60 more days on a 90-day process in which the governor has sent to Center for CMS to increase the poverty level for Medicaid to 400%, so more people can qualify for health care assistance. But it is going to, those are the different factors that we have to roll into the healthcare, the housing, and then the sustenance. And then the other part of it is the ones that are just right on that borderline that because of their assets or past successes are kind of like out of the eligibility requirements for some of the standard entitlement programs. That's the group that I think is really, really concerned, and there's different ways that we can chip around that in different ways. So there's that, and then the other big thing is schools, right? And trying to work on. I mean, we're planning for face-to-face, but if it's not safe, it's not going to happen. And we're still in the middle now of executing what's going to be an expanded subsidy, or going to be a subsidy, expanded access to the internet, but including a subsidy that we're going to work through DOE to help parents offset the cost of internet. So let me just briefly, before I have to go, is we finally received our approval from U.S. Education to pursue our plans. I think it's over $8 million that we're going to be pushing through Department of Education to push out to parents of both public and private school and charter school students. That is being worked on right now actively. And then going forward and in partnership with DOE, we're establishing these community learning centers around the island. And our plans are pushing in some hotspots and perhaps some supporting computer labs that are going to be in all the villages in 21 schools, and then in the village libraries and DYA centers and different areas. So that's kind of like the other pieces. We got the economic and sustenance piece, but then now for me personally, working with DOE on trying to facilitate and aid on the education front. You know, I mean, unfortunately right now, and I was just talking about this yesterday on the meeting, the students are heavily impacted this year and last year, right? They are behind. And there's some innovative ways to try and get them to stay afloat, but this pandemic is going to impact us for the next few years based on trying to bring the students up to where they need to be and having the support mechanisms for them at the home so they can learn. It's the most challenging thing that I can think of. And I do have to say that the different schools are doing the best they can. A lot of them want to open. Harvest wants to open and some other private schools, but we'll only do that when it's safe.
Well, thank you. I know you've been heading up trying to get resources for education since the start of this pandemic, but you've also been heading up the efforts regarding our homeless situation. And I think last time we spoke, there were efforts to try and secure this second homeless shelter. Has there been any movement on that at all?
No, there hasn't. And it's very disappointing. There's still open procurement out. There's a little delay because GSA had a positive case down there, so they had to reduce their operations a few weeks ago. And so it's impacted the government, but we're trying to catch up. But quite frankly, and I said it before, I think at our meeting, you know, I mean, I'm seeing facilities that are on the multiple listing service go for a price, and the property owners are submitting prices twice or three times those amounts down. And so, you know, it is business, of course, but it has to do with, you know, we can't get into a unsustainable situation, you know, when there's resource needs everywhere else. So the intent is still to do it. There's still a need, and we're pushing, but part of it is going to depend on the location and the cost and whether or not we could sustain that kind of cost and, you know, not be cheated. You know, I mean, that's the bottom line. And it's not just one. I mean, seems to be par for the course in this one.
Well, maybe Jason could talk to some of his realtor friends. LT, I know you got to go, but thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks.
Thanks so much. I just say this: if you are going to submit something and it's pretty close or on target with your listed price, then you seem to be a reputable person. You just might get it. So,
well, there you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, LT. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you. Stay safe.
You too. Be safe.
To go to vote at lunchtime.
All
yeah,
right.
Bree, don't forget, Bree.
I'm not gonna forget.
Okay, make sure.
Okay.
Okay. There you go, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. 8:57. Let's keep it in the